making sure you can see me okay. Just angle it a little bit. All right, great. So let's come to stand to start. We'll get right into the practice today. So go ahead and stand on your mat, and we're just going to be looking at range of motion, active flexibility versus passive range of motion. And we'll just kind of dissect a little bit about what that means and just explore in the body a little bit. It's a huge topic. So for anatomy and body nerds like me, I could go on forever about range of motion, passive and active range of motion, but I won't go too in depth with it today because it's a huge subject. But basically what that means, the difference between active range of motion and passive range of motion. The active range of motion is how you can move your body with self-control, so muscle control. How do you move, and what is your range of motion based on your muscle control, which is tied to your nervous system keeping you safe, basically. Your nervous system will stop you at the end of your range of motion far before your actual physical range of motion ends. And so that's where passive range of motion comes in. We could take range of motion to some degree on our own, and the nervous system would say, okay, that's it for you. That's the safe place for you to stop. And then you could apply pressure and maybe take it a little bit further, and that's where you might feel a stretch happening, or you might feel it before, but you might feel a deeper stretch happening when you apply pressure. So just to get an idea for that, we'll play with it a bit. So from a standing position, draw your left ear over to your left shoulder just with the weight of the head, and just notice the range of motion. So you're experiencing some length down the right side of the neck, top of the trapezius, maybe even into the arm a little bit. So this is your active range of motion. This is your body is controlling this. Your nervous system is telling you where the end of this motion is. Now take your left hand and place it on top of your right ear. So you can kind of make space with your fingers so the ear's between the fingers. And then just let the weight of the arm and hand create a deeper stretch. Now we are experiencing passive range of motion. So the terms are a little misleading, but just think of your active range of motion of what your body can activate. And passive range of motion means that some outside force is extending that range of motion. So now you're feeling a deeper stretch through the assistance of your hand. That is passive range of motion. Slowly release and maybe even help the head back to center, and we'll just experiment that same sensation on the other side. Right ear to right shoulder. This is your active range of motion. This is what your body is doing on its own. This is your nervous system saying this is your end movement that we feel confident in maintaining safely. And then if you take that right hand and place it over the left ear, and we're not forcing anything here, we're just letting the weight of the hand and arm give a little assist. Now we're seeking out some passive space in the range of motion. So we're going beyond where the body and the nervous system says it's the end game. And then we might be able to experience a little bit of expansion there using the breath. And then just release, help the head back to center, and just stand a moment. Now we're going to start to just play with range of motion in the legs and arms and our limbs. So starting with the right arm, we're going to take the left hand and hold on to the right rib cage. And we're going to take the right hand, palm facing the leg, forward, up, and back until you find the end of your range of motion. So this will be the end of my range of motion here. I want to keep the torso still so that the torso doesn't take over the movement. And then I'm going to articulate the hand so it turns out, and that'll give me another bit of movement here. I'm going to come all the way around. The palm faces the thigh again, so it'll naturally articulate. And we'll start to do that, just noticing where we are at first before the muscles are warm. and then keep going. So you can find kind of a rhythm. Make sure you find your end range of motion before you articulate and come around. So this is just good information, right? This is getting to know your shoulder joint. This is getting to feel where your active end range is. Just starting to make a little space. Continue. So not only is this range of motion work, but it's actually, because it's active, we're using muscles to make it happen. So there's a misnomer about flexibility and tension. And sometimes we experience tension when we actually, what's really going on is weakness. The body won't let us move in a particular way because the muscles surrounding the joint are weakened. They're not strong enough to support the range of motion. We experience it as limited range of motion and we think it's tightness, when in reality, it's actually weakness. Oftentimes that's the case for hamstring tightness, and then we damage or injure the hamstring because we keep trying to stretch it and stretch it and stretch it, and the reality is it's over lengthened and weak in the first place. So that's where this kind of work can come in handy, is starting to figure out what the active range of motion is, what the body stability in a joint is, and what we can help with passive stretching versus active stretching and vice versa. So maybe give me 2 or 3 more complete rounds. Your arm, shoulder's probably feeling a little warm now, probably getting a little tired. And then the next time the arm comes next to the side, just kind of shake it out. See if you can let it go. You move the shoulder around. And now we're going to switch directions. So palm facing the right leg, reach back, find your range of motion, really find it. So you go straight back, find, this is where my arm stops, and now articulate, turn the palm out, and come around. It'll be a natural motion, just find that range, end range, and then articulate to come around. Really, you'll get more out of this activity if you really seek out that end range each time. This is great information for the nervous system. If your shoulder is hypermobile, which is something that happens due to weakness around the joint, then the body will experience it as tension and say, oh, we can't go there. But really, it's the body stopping you from injuring yourself. That's not always true. Sometimes there's legitimate tightness and strength. So that it's not one size fits all, of course, because bodies are so different. But this is really more about just giving you some information about your range, your strength, your flexibility in today's practice. Keep going. Let's go 3 times around more. I know this gets kind of tiring, but we really want to open up and experience the whole shoulder mobility here. The next time your hand comes next to your side, let it go, shake it out. And then switch sides. Hold on to your left rib cage. Left hand down by your side, palm facing the leg. We'll go forward, up, and back. Find your end range. And then articulate to come around. Start to just find your nice fluid movement. You know, if you move slower than I'm moving, that's fine. And even if you move more quickly than I am, that's fine too. Just make sure that you're finding that end range before you articulate. And you might find quite a lot of difference side to side because we are one side dominant, most of us. We may have weakness on the left and over tension, shortened tight muscles, I call them, on the more active, strong side, and long, weak muscles on the other side. So you won't necessarily be able to diagnose yourself or sort of know the true extent of what's going on, but you can start to just feel it in terms of sensation, and you don't even really need to name it. I just want you to feel your own range of motion and your maybe lack of strength if you're experiencing that. You'll experience it because you'll get really tired quick doing this. Your arm will want to give up. Now the next time your hand comes around, shake it out, let it go. and then we'll go the opposite way. So palm facing the leg, go back, find your range of motion reaching back before you articulate and come around. So again, start this action and keep with it. Try and keep the torso still, or as still as possible. I think I moved around a little bit, but that right hand is there to keep the torso from compensating for the shoulder range. So if you have really tight or really weak muscles around the shoulder, either or, your torso will want to take over this game for you, because your torso has a lot more complex muscle systems. So see if you can keep it really in the shoulder. Maybe 3 more times around. And without judgment, right? So every time we explore the body, it's really easy to be like, oh my gosh, my stupid shoulder is really tight or weak. And that's really not the intention at all. The intention is to explore and create a more deep relationship with the body. And that way you can respond more effectively. Next time hand comes down by your side, shake it out, let it go. And we're gonna go back to the right side, hold on to your right rib cage, you're firm in your feet. Take your right arm straight out in front of you, shoulder height, shoulder width. And we're gonna make this little box movement with the shoulder. So we're gonna drive it straight back, up toward the earlobe, and then forward, down, back. Kind of reminds me of train wheels. Up, forward, down, back. Up, forward, down, back. So again, this is exploring the patterns in the shoulder. If this is really hard, you might have some weakness in certain muscle groups. To do this very controlled motion, we need strength in the little stabilizers. I know this is always harder on my left because it's my weaker side. And then we're going to switch directions. So just find neutral, arm reaching out, shoulder height, shoulder width, and then go forward, up, back, down. Forward, up, back, down. Forward, up, back, down. One more time. And release. Shake it out. Switch sides. Right hand holds the rib cage on the left. Left arm out, shoulder height, shoulder width. Now we're going to go down. So draw the shoulder down, back, up, forward. Down, back, up, forward. Down, back, up, forward, down, back, up, forward. Just noticing what's here. If you're getting tired, just notice. Challenge yourself if you do feel some fatigue. Maybe give yourself 1 or 2 more. And then we'll switch directions. So from a neutral arm, forward, up, back, down. Forward, up, back, down. Forward, up, back, down. Forward, up, back, down. 1 more time and release. So just noticing now how the shoulders feel. Maybe they feel a little warm. Just kind of taking in what you learned from those motions. And we'll move to the legs. Left foot will take the weight, so go ahead and spread those toes. Find your solid base on your left foot. Float your right knee up. And I just want to give you a couple of experiments to do with the active-passive idea. So float the leg up, flex the foot. So now we are finding an active position for the leg and hip. This is the body is doing this. Now see if you can draw your knee up toward your torso without your hands. So that is your active range of motion there, wherever the end of that is. Now take your hands and interlace them over your shin and pull the leg in. Now there's your passive range of motion. So you're using a little outside help to find deeper engagement. So it has to do with strength and tightness, right? Or weakness and flexibility. So now take your hands and interlace them underneath your right thigh. Keep the knee bent. And now actively lengthen the right leg. Now we're keeping this here with the help of the hands. So this is a passive action in the body. The leg is being helped. So there's some passive quality to the muscles. Now, if you can, release the arms. See, can you maintain the leg out there? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe there's some information there for you. Release the leg down. We'll do the same on the other side. Bend the knee. Your weight is on the right foot. Bend the knee, float it up. Flex the foot. This is where your body came naturally. Now really activate and pull the thigh in toward the belly. That's your active range of motion in the hip flexion. And now take your hands around the shin and pull it in tighter. There's your passive range of motion. Now we'll just do that with the straight leg. Hands under the thigh, so you can hang out here. Little passive situation. Straighten the leg. Flex the foot. Notice this is where you're being helped by outside forces, right? See what's involved in the muscles. And then release. Let's go to active. Now we're really active, much harder. You might shake a little bit. You might get some information about the quality of the strength around that hip flexion. And then release. Shift the weight back over to your left foot, spread your toes. Now float your right knee up and take it out to the side. Now we're gonna make a little figure 8 motion with the hip. So out to the side, in, out, in, out. Flex the foot, in, out. If you fall, that's okay. Just come back. Playing with external, internal, external, internal, external, internal. Keep going, you're probably getting tired. But this is how we can actively move the hip joint and explore our active range of motion in the right hip. So this will give you a good understanding of what it takes to find range of motion in terms of muscle strength and flexibility. And then release the foot to the mat, and we'll switch to the other side. I like to have hands at hips. You can have them kind of out to the side if that helps your balance. Right foot takes the weight, float the left knee up, and then take it external, internal. See if you can find a nice, smooth range of motion. External, internal, external, internal. So for me, left leg is a little harder to find smooth action. That's due to weakness. In my particular situation, could be due to tightness or some wacky combination too. Maybe keep going, maybe 3 or 4 more. If you fall, that's okay. Just come back and challenge. And then release. Beautiful. Now return your body to the top of the mat if you're not there already. And we'll just move through our sun salutations. And just keeping in mind what we discovered about the body today. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Palms touch. Reach up. Maybe a tiny back bend. And exhale, dive forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Right foot shoots back. Inhale to fingertips. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale to a high plank. Exhale, slow lower. Use the knees if you need them. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Inhale, float your right leg up behind you. Exhale, bend the knee, draw it tight into the belly, shift forward, and step the foot between the thumbs. Inhale to fingertips. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to bow in. Soften the knees. Inhale, big sweep to the top. Palms touch, reach up, look up. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, left foot shoots back. Inhale to fingertips. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to high plank. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, bend the knee, pull it tight into the belly, shift forward like plank, and step your foot between the thumbs. Inhale to fingertips. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale to halfway lengthen. Exhale to bow deeply. Soften the knees. Inhale, big sweep to the top. Palms touch. Reach up, look up. Exhale, dive. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Right foot shoots back. Inhale, lift, airplane wings. Exhale, arms forward, shoulders draw back. Inhale, reach for the sky. And exhale, sink the hips. Big breath in. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, slow lower. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, bend the knee, pull it tight into the belly, shift forward and step through. Inhale to fingertips. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow deeply. Soften the knees. Inhale, big sweep to the top. Palms touch, reach up, look up. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, hands to the mat, left foot shoots back. Inhale to airplane wings. Exhale, arms forward, shoulders back. Inhale, reach for the sky. And exhale, sink the hips. Big breath in. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, slow lower. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Inhale, float your left leg up behind you. Exhale, bend the knee, pull it tight into the belly, shift forward and step through. Inhale to fingertips. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale to halfway lengthen. Exhale to bow. Soften the knees. Inhale, big sweep to the top. Palms touch. Reach up, look up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Release your hands next to your sides and step your feet slightly wider than hips. Just begin to gently swing the arms from side to side. So twisting the spine gently from the bottom to the top. Eventually, return the head in the direction the hands move. So just thinking about range of motion in the spine here, all the way up into the neck. And again, if there are weak areas in the back, the body will create the sensation of tension to avoid injury. So you won't want to go into certain flexions of the spine or different postures that might affect a weak area of the spine. Sometimes that's the low back, often it is. So just noticing how your spine moves in this way, and then slowly come back to center. We're going to take a side bend, so keep your feet where they were. Left hand to the left hip, right hand out to the side. Turn the whole arm so the palm faces up. Inhale. As you exhale, reach up and over. Send the hips away from the fingertips. So just noticing here, range of motion in the hip, the arm, the spine, and then come back to center. Right hand, right hip, left arm out, roll the whole arm so the palm faces the ceiling. Take a big breath in, and exhale as you reach up and over. So just acquainting ourselves with the sensations in the body. And as you move through this kind of practice, you can start to be able to decipher the experience of muscles that might be weaker or muscles that might be more engaged and truly tighter. So slowly come back to center. Step your feet under your hips. Walk your hands to your low back, thumbs pointing in. We're going to take a standing back bend. You could always work with fingertips pointing up if that's something you're working on. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift the sternum, lift the chest, open the throat, lift the chin. If you want to go into a deeper back bend, shift your hips forward and arc back. So there's quite a lot of stability that has to be present here. So you might think, oh, I'm not flexible enough for a standing back bend. But in fact, it requires strength for the nervous system to allow the body to take this shape. Slowly come up, hands to hips, hold forward. So let's think about the hamstrings now in this forward fold. Let's start with bent knees and wrap the arms around the back of the legs. So quite a bend in the knees so that the belly and thighs are touching, even if that's a really deep bend. And then let the head hang heavy, maybe shake it out a bit, and start to straighten the legs. And just find the spot where your mind wants to stop the straightening of the legs, tuning into the upper backs of the legs where it attaches to the sits bones. And now we'll apply some passive assistance. So squeeze the arms into the legs and now start to lift the hips. So it's the arms that is offering this deeper stretch by anchoring you into the shape. And we never go past any point of sharp pain or anything like that. Just feel what's available when we add the passive work. And then you can gently release. Bend the knees a lot, release the arms, and take the arms up for a fierce pose. So sink the hips, arms reaching up, your biceps are by the ears, spread the fingers, squeeze the buttocks. And then press into the feet to grow tall. Reach up, look up, hands to prayer. Now sink the hips again. Inhale, lift the elbows. Exhale, bring your torso down toward the thighs and twist left elbow, right knee. Left hip draws back, long spine. Sink in, challenge the muscle strength here. Also, certainly a bit of range of motion that needs to happen in the spine with this twist and in the hips. Left hip drawing back in space, developing the strength, keep the SI joints even with each other. And then inhale, come back to center, stay low, and exhale, go the other way. Belly toward thighs, right elbow outside your left knee, right hip drawing back in space. A lot of muscle involved in this shape. And that's why people often think about yoga as flexibility. And the truth is we're often more working with strength than flexibility. We're building the strength to allow the nervous system to let the body have more range of motion. Come back to center, fold forward. Plant your hands, walk back, find your downward facing dog. So once you arrive in your dog, just give yourself a moment to readjust. Bring extra weight to the thumb and index finger. Claw down with the fingertips. Gently roll the eye of the elbow in toward the thumb. So it's an inner roll of the arms. That should broaden the shoulders. Lengthen the hips. Take care of your hamstrings. If you need a little bend in the knees, that's fine. We're going to play with range of motion in the shape. So get sturdy in your left foot. You need to step it in a little bit. Get nice and strong in your left foot. And float your right leg up behind you. We're going to take big hip circles, kind of like the ones we took when we were standing, but we're going to do it in the dog. So bend, and we're going to go out and in, out and in. So same motion, out and in. So just play with what's there for you. If it's not a huge range of motion, that's okay. This is just about curiosity and getting to know the body more. Release that leg down. Get sturdy in your right foot. Float your left leg up behind you. Bend the knee. So we'll do exterior rotation and in. Out and in. Out and in. And again, my left side has much less fluid quality to it. And I know from exploration in my body that that is a lack of muscle strength in the small stabilizers. And then release that foot down. Release your knees to the mat and find hands and knees. Knees under hips, hands under shoulders. And we're just going to play with range of motion in the hip from this position. So take it out to the side. We're taking a hydrant pose here. You can imagine why it's called that. So you're lifting your leg like you're at a hydrant. And then extend the leg out to the side. A lot of work there. Bend the knee, bring it back, and release. Other side. Flex your foot, take your knee out to the side, hydrant pose. Try to keep your hips as square as possible. And then maybe straighten the leg. Active range of motion. Takes a lot of muscle strength. We're often working that in our yoga practice. Release, come back to center. And we're going to take the, what I call rainbow pose, and it's an active pose. So extend your right leg straight back, tuck your toes, just feel a little stretch in the leg. And then float the leg up. We're going to cross it over the left leg and tap the left side of the mat. And then make a nice big rainbow shape, tap the right side of the mat. That's one. Come back over, left, right, that's two. Left, right, that's three. Tap, tap, that's four. Tap, tap, that's five. Tap, tap, that's six. Tap, tap, that's seven. And come back to center. You need to kind of move your hips around, go for it, roll out the wrists. And we'll take that same motion on the other side. So step now your left foot back, tuck the toes, just find a little stretch for yourself. And then float, active range of motion. So we'll start by taking those toes over to tap the right side, crossing over. And then nice rainbow shape up and over to the left, that's one. Right, left, that's two. Try to keep nice and still. That's three. Tap, tap, that's four. Stabilizing the hips. Tap, tap, that's five. Tap, tap, that's six. Tap, tap, that's seven. We're going to find a child's pose. Take your knees wide and let your hips sink back. Fingertips reaching forward. Settle into deep breathing. Slowly come back up onto hands and knees. We're not quite done with this hip work here. So if you feel like you have really tight glutes or tight hamstrings, this strengthening work will help you develop range of motion because it will release your nervous system to explore the joint a little more fully if you're stronger. So that's the intention here. So bend your knee, lift your right leg, bend your knee, point your toe up, and we're gonna pulse for 10. So you should never come down further than hip height on the left side. So try to keep it at hip height and pulse up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Try to maintain that, straighten the leg, and we'll just gently tap the toe down and lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Come back to all fours, roll out the wrists if they're getting tired, and we'll move to the other side. Building more range of motion through stability. Float your right leg up, bend the knee. And again, try to keep square hips. They won't be perfect, but try to keep square hips. Point the toe, and we'll pulse. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maintain. Straighten the leg and we'll tap the toe for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back to hands and knees and find a child's pose. Reaching fingertips forward, finding some space in the back of your body, just tapping into breath. When you're ready, come out of your child's pose, tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. We're going to explore a little range of motion in the hamstring and the ankle here. Inhale, lift your right leg up behind you. Maybe roll out the ankle. Go both ways. When you're ready, bend the knee, pull it tight into the belly, shift forward like plank, and step your foot between your thumbs. Release your left knee down to the mat. If you need to roll your mat or grab a blanket or towel to pat the knee, go for it. And just slide your right foot back about a half a foot's length. So slide right foot back just a little bit. And then when you shift forward, you should feel extra depth in the crease of your right ankle. We're going to shift between this position and a runner's lunge. So go ahead and shift the hips back. Lift your right toes, fingers on either side of the front leg. Think about your right hip pulling back and up. So sits bone back and up. That's the activation of the muscular system. Your right heel is isometrically pulling back. So it's stuck to the mat, but there's muscle action pulling it back. And then gently forward, deepening the crease in the right ankle, and then back, and then forward, and then back, and then forward, and then back, and last time, forward, tuck your back toes, lift your knee, plant your hands, three-legged dog, right leg up behind you. Just hold the three-legged dog for a moment and we'll move through Vinyasa. Now, if you want, and you're practicing three-legged Vinyasa with me, you can always release the leg down and take a regular Vinyasa, or you can rest. Inhale, high plank, keep that right leg high. Exhale, chaturanga. Now release the leg, inhale up to cobra or up dog, and exhale back to downward facing dog. Other side, inhale, left leg lifts, roll out that ankle. Mine cracks and pops from an old injury. Don't even have to have an injury sometimes, get those cracking and popping. Bend the knee when you're ready, pull it tight into the belly, shift forward like plank, and step your foot between your thumbs. Release your right knee down. Release your back toes and slide your left foot back about a half a foot distance. The length of your foot. And then shift the hips forward to deepen your crease in your left ankle. Of course, you'll be feeling some length in that right hip flexor as well. So there's often two or more actions happening in the body in yoga poses, which is one of the reasons it's so great. It's not isolated. We're often using the whole body, even if the focus is on one part. So just feel that depth. You might feel this in your Achilles tendon. You might feel it in front of the ankle. And then we'll shift back for the runner's lunge. Lift the toes toward the ceiling, hips move back. Back toes can be tucked or not. It's really up to you. Hands on either side of the leg. Lift the chest. Left hip pulling back, active. Left hip pulling back and up. Breathing nice and even. Active stretch for the hamstring. And then shift forward, deepen the crease in your ankle, and then back, and then forward, and then back, and then forward, back, forward and stay. Plant your hands, tuck your back toe, lift your knee. We're going to find three-legged dog. This left leg will sweep straight up and back. Now you could just hold this three-legged dog for a moment and then continue on your vinyasa, or you can challenge yourself keeping it up. Shift forward like plank. Slowly lower. Now release the leg. Up dog or cobra. Exhale back. Downward facing dog. Right leg lifts. So this is a little core action that we're going to just activate in the body. A nice strong core allows flexibility in the spine because it lets the nervous system know its spine is safe and sturdy. So we'll work the core a little bit here. Bend the knee, draw it up to the right elbow. Hold. Extend the leg up and back. Bend the knee, cross the body to the left elbow. Hold. Inhale, bring it up behind you. This time, exhale, knee to nose and hold. Right leg up and back. Now exhale, pull it into the belly and step it through. Keep your back heel high. When you're ready, sweep both arms up overhead, reaching, looking up, sinking hips, right hip drawing back in space. Breathe here. Now we're going to take a thunderbolt pose. So instead of your shoulders over your hips, you're going to shift the weight forward so that your torso is angled toward the front of the mat. And now you can send weight back through that left hip. Full body strength to stay here. And then we're going to transfer the weight totally into the front foot and find a standing split. So right hand down, launching back leg up into the air. Bowing your forehead toward your standing leg, point your left leg. So again, here is an opportunity. I often can experience some weakness in my left leg that is not allowing more range of motion. So it's not tightness, it's lack of muscle control. When you're ready, we're going to fight gravity coming down. So go as slow as possible, lowering left toes down to the mat. Inhale, come on back up to thunderbolt. Take it really slow, really controlled. Thunderbolt pose. Now we're going to go from thunderbolts to an easy open twist. Bring your left hand down to the mat, right arm up. And then we'll transfer into a side plank. Left hand takes the weight. Options, you can step this right foot halfway back. That's a modification. Or you can come to the pinky edge of your bottom foot and stack your feet. Side plank. Full body strengthener, full body stabilizer. And then roll back to center. Downward facing dog. Opportunity to rest or move through vinyasa with me. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, slow lower. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Couple of rounds of breath before we move to the other side, starting with our core planks. Float your left leg up behind you. Exhale, bend the knee, draw it up to the left elbow and hold. Inhale, reach the leg up behind you. Exhale, bend the knee, cross the body to the right elbow and hold. Inhale, lift the leg. Exhale, knee to nose and hold. Now step your foot between your thumbs. Back heel stays high, sweep your arms up for crescent lunge. So we come to crescent at first just to get the stability of the legs. Left hip pulling back, belly in. And then when you're ready, we're going to shift the torso forward into thunderbolt. So still reaching with the hands, creating a long line up the back of the body. Send weight through your right heel to stabilize. And then we'll go all the way into the standing split. Take your hands down, shift the weight into your left leg, and launch your right leg up behind you. Bow the forehead toward the standing leg. You really have to activate your right quadriceps in order to lift the leg. So again, it's not often, it's not always, it can be, there's not always tightness that's restricting us. Sometimes it's lack of stability that is restricting us. Now we're going to fight gravity. I want you to move as slowly as humanly possible to get that right toe back to the mat. Really, really, really good control. Right toes land and we'll return to thunderbolt. So keeping the torso slightly forward, reach the arms up. And then we'll transfer weight onto the right hand, keeping back heel high. Left arm reaches, you're going to turn and look up at your top thumb for easy open twist. And then we'll take the weight into the right hand and either step back halfway or step back all the way for your side plank. Stabilize, even out the breath. Roll back to center. Opportunity to rest or move. You can, if you choose to just rest, you can come right to your belly because that's where we're going. Or you can move through Vinyasa with me. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, press back. Downward facing dog. So if you moved, you can chaturanga. We're going to take a really slow chaturanga. So find a nice, solid plank position. And bend the elbows next to the body so you can chaturanga as slowly as possible to the belly. And once you arrive, look over your right shoulder, arms long by your sides, big toes touching, heels are soft, and just let yourself find a nice, easy rhythm of breath. When you're ready, arms out like a T. Come to your chin. We'll come through our full locust pose. When you're ready, squeeze your inner thighs, press into the top of the feet. Get the legs ready for the pose. Pressing into the palms, lift the chest. Come to fingertips, get up a little higher, bend the elbows. When you're ready, float the hands. Try to keep some of that height that you got. And now add the legs. Squeeze the buttocks. Squeeze the inner thighs, toes reach back, fingertips reach back. We're strengthening the back of the body to send the message to the nervous system that it's safe to move in all directions. We're nice and stable and strong, not risking injury, then we can move as we want to move. Slowly release, look over your left shoulder, and breathe. Now, all this talk about developing strength as a solution for restricted range of motion is, as I said, not always the answer. Sometimes there is, in fact, tension, and that's what's restricting range of motion. Often that's due to injury. Thickened connective tissue that developed because of an injury. Come back to center. We're going to take the bow pulling pose. Now we're only going to take the bow pulling pose once. So if you can't hold both feet when you reach back, that's totally fine. You're just going to bend the knees and reach the fingertips back in that direction, pressing the thighs down. If you have the feet, go ahead and grab them. Bend the knees, hold the outside edges of the feet. Walk your thighs close together. Start to activate by pressing your thighs into the mat. You should feel the pressure in your hands when you do that. And then just float the chest up a little bit. And now we'll go into the pose. Send the feet straight back. Lift the chest. So when the back is strong, all the little stabilizers in the back are strong. Then when we attempt to take a deep back bend, the nervous system won't stop us because it feels safe. There's good stability here. There's a good network of safety. And then release. Go ahead and let go into your restful pose and breathe. When you're ready, come back to center, hands under shoulders. Just go ahead and shift the hips straight back to your heels. We're gonna come onto our back. So just let the hips come over to the side and legs around in front of you. And we're going to come all the way onto the back, but as always, we're gonna do it with control. So draw the pubic bone to the belly button and roll down nice and slow, just with awareness. And when you find yourself on your mat, we're gonna play a little bit again with active versus passive stretching. So we'll start with right leg. So without the help of your hands, I just want you to bring the right thigh into your belly and then extend your right toes up toward the ceiling. And now we're gonna try and draw that right leg toward the nose. So just find, you don't have to overdo it or anything like that. Just figure out where your active range is. And now let's add passive range of motion. Reach your hands up. You can hold the back of your thigh or your calf or your ankle. Don't hold on to the knee, but hold on to somewhere on the leg and start to pull the leg gently toward the nose. We never, never, never pull to pain. We're just finding sort of the end range of this passive stretch. Breathe. And then release, excuse me, and take your right ankle over your left knee for supine pigeon. So right ankle over the top of the left knee, flex your right foot. What that does is it activates all the tendons and ligaments around the kneecap, and it keeps the kneecap in place when we flex the foot. You can even just play with that a little bit. Release and have kind of a floppy, wilted lettuce foot, and the knee doesn't feel quite so engaged and safe. Now flex the foot and feel what happens to the muscles and ligaments surrounding the knee. Right hand reaches through the middle, meet your left hand at the back of the left thigh. Now flex that foot too. We're gonna protect both knees this way. And now start to draw the legs in toward the body. Now we're using passive, right? We're using our arms to create more length in the glute on the right side, maybe the hamstring on the left. Now again, you could add more passive range of motion by using your right elbow, and press your right knee away from you. Now that would add more passive space. Soften your face, soften your jaw, and release from the pose. Knees are bent. Take your arms out of the game. You can just let them gently fall next to you. Draw your left thigh in. Find your active, meaning muscles are active, nervous system is active in finding the shape of the body. And then you can go ahead and straighten the toes toward the ceiling. And now find your active range of motion just with your leg. Pull the leg in. Where is your active range of motion? You're using muscle strength. Your body knows right where to stop before you start to feel any deep, deep sensation. Now, if you go into that passive action, you're going to take your hands to the thigh or the calf and pull the leg toward the nose just a little bit. Make sure that the left hip is anchoring down toward the mat. And just find a little extra length by using the toes. So you're pointing the toes and reaching them up and back. And now we'll release that and find the supine pigeon pose, the left ankle on top of the right knee. Flex that foot, left hand through the middle, meet your right hand at the back of the right thigh. Now flex your right foot too. Knees are nice and active. Feet are active. Now draw the legs in toward the body. And now see if you can find this little self-assist. elbow, left elbow, presses the left thigh away. And now you can pull with your hands a little more to create some passive range of motion. And now release from this. One more activity here before we find our final twist. Take your both legs now and pull, without the use of your hands, pull your thighs into your belly. Point the toes and squeeze the inner line of the leg together. And now add your hands, bring them to your shins, and really deepen the contact between the thigh and the belly, thighs and belly. And now roll the head up, chin to chest, like you're trying to touch your knees with your forehead. Point your toes, squeeze the legs into the inner line of the legs. And stay here for just a moment. So now we're deepening this little action here into the ball by using the strength of our arms to pull the legs in. That's passive, right? That's passive range of motion. Now, can you become active in your range of motion and keep this engagement? Release the hands. And just notice if your shape opened up a little bit, or if you were able to engage the framework of musculature to keep the shape. Slowly release. Thighs are still together. We'll just take it into our twist. Release your head down and bring your thighs nice and close to the torso, letting the legs come over to the right. Left arm reaches out, turn your head to the left. And breathe. You can use your right hand to stabilize your legs if you like, or if you prefer, just let everything go natural and fall how it will. Soften the eyelids, soften the jaw. So some of the areas we experience most of our discomfort and our perceived tightness. That's sort of really the message that I wanted to get across in the class today, is that when we experience lack of range of motion, we always say, oh my gosh, I'm so tight in my shoulder or my hamstring or my hip. And I just want you to consider the idea that maybe it's lack of stability that is restricting your range of motion. And the only real way to figure that out is to start to develop a good working relationship with the body to determine if there's some weakness restricting your movement. Slowly come back to center. Squeeze the legs in toward your belly and then go ahead and let them go the other way. And knees can stay stacked if you like, or they can fall naturally, however you feel best in the position. Right arm reaches out, maybe you're turning your head in that direction. So it's not to say that we don't hold active tension in the body. Sometimes the term is called hypertonacity. So sometimes we do something repeatedly, or we hold the body in an unbalanced way so that the muscle becomes active and short, and it stays that way. Usually that is some sort of compensation to an injury or an imbalance in the body. And sometimes it's a compensation to lack of strength somewhere else. So as a massage therapist and a yoga instructor, I'm always trying to decode, are we hypertonic? Are we holding tension? Is the muscle active? Or is it weak and long? If you think about stretching a rubber band, for instance, it's actually very tight, right? It's overstretched, but it's very tight. And you can think of your hamstrings. Often people have weak, overstretched hamstrings. They're not, in fact, short and hypertonic. Go ahead and come back to center. Squeeze the thighs in. Extend the toes up. Roll out the ankles. Shake them out. And then release your feet to the mat, finding Shavasana. Legs out long, tuck your shoulders under you. So sometimes I like to take you on a journey of the emotional layers or the spiritual layers. And sometimes it's fun to stay really practical and take a journey through this incredible machine of the body. So thank you for joining me in that exploration. Being really in the physical body can really help us feel grounded and strong and powerful and in control. So hopefully that will be your experience as you come out of the practice today. Offering deep gratitude and allowing yourself to be in a state of awe, really, of the physical body. Incredibly complex machine. Always aware in my yoga practice of how complex it is. When you're ready, hug your knees into your chest and just go ahead and roll onto your right side. In that state of gratitude and awe, press up to a comfortable seat. Your eyes are closed, your palms are pressed at the center of your chest. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, bow your forehead toward your fingertips. Slide the thumbs to the center of the forehead and we'll bow as one. Namaste. Thank you again for practicing with me today. I will unmute the microphones and you can ask questions if you have any. And please remember, if you can, to just leave me a little note in the chat for attendance.
Emily, what kind of yoga mat is that?
Oh, Jenny, you haven't been acquainted with my yoga mats yet.
No, but I saw it. I'm very interested.
Yeah, a lot of people have them these days because I've been selling them at the studio. And I actually have a shipment that's stuck in Boston in customs right now, so I'm out right now. But when I get them, I'd be happy to ship you one to your house. They're called Yoga Design Lab.
Okay.
And they're awesome. They're just the right amount of stickiness. They're just the right amount of squishiness. I have never found a mat I like more than this one. They're a little expensive, but if you buy it from me, they're a little cheaper than if you buy one mat, because I get a deal for buying a bunch at a time.
What's it made out of?
What's that?
What's it
made out of? It is recycled tree rubber, whatever that means. I don't really know what that means. Do you?
No, no, but I like recycled things.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they're actually made in England, and this company is really fabulous. It's a group of young women that are making these yoga mats and repping them and selling them, and they're really friendly. Like when I go to order my mats, she calls me on the phone and we do it person to person. So I've just been really impressed with the customer service and the company, and like I said, it's my favorite mat I've ever owned, and they're really sturdy. Like I feel like you're going to get lots of years out of them.
Nice. And it's sticky enough?
It's totally sticky enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. What's it like compared to the jade rubber? Is it different?
It's quite a bit thicker. No, if you can see.
I didn't love the jade mat, so.
You did love it.
I didn't know it pulled my toenail polish off when I.
It actually
did that before. It would like take my toenail polish off.
Yeah, and it also, the jade mats almost had that like rough feel to them, like sandpaper. It would sometimes like hurt my toes if I was practicing multiple times a day. Like the bottom of my toes would get raw. So, and also the jade mats are not very thick. Like this mat is squishy, so I can really be on my knee without any support. Nice. Whereas the jade mats, I didn't feel like had enough squishiness. I will say they're not a good travel mat. They're heavy.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So what did you say it was called again? What's the company?
Yoga Design Lab.
Okay, I'm gonna look them up, and yeah, when you get your shipment, I'd probably like to
Yeah,
try
'cause
one.
I think they're infinity mat. This is the infinity mat. I think on the online, if you buy one, it's $98, and if you buy it from me, it's $89. So it's I get that myself. It's a little bit cheaper. And then if you do look, Jenny, you can tell me what color and design you like best,
Okay.
because that'll be the best way for you to see the options, and I'll have all of them of the infinity mat.
Oh, that's cool. All right.
So.
Thank you. I'm excited.
I'm gonna look too. It was so good to see you, Jenny.
Yeah, it's good to see you too, Emily. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Hanging in there.
Are you still working at a school right now?
But I'm not really, but I'm not
But
doing
you
much.
were working there this year.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm gonna go. It was so good to see you. And Em, I love you so much. Thank you.
Love you too, sweetie. Take care. We'll